Get out of my house and never come back. And stay away from my brother, you hear me? You're not welcome in his life anymore. Do you get it?
Hold on a minute. You can't just splash hot coffee on me and then act like I'm the one who's wrong.
Ugh, how dare you talk back to me, you worthless witch!
I came here to tell you that Joseph and I are getting married. I don't know what I ever did to you to deserve this kind of abuse, which is awful, by the way. And why are you so mean to me? It makes no sense.
You really think I'm gonna let some old divorcee marry my big brother? You must be out of your mind. Consider that hot coffee a wake-up call from this terrible nightmare you're trying to live.
Are you serious right now? Is that all you have to say for yourself?
Jeez. Joseph probably doesn't even know how close he was to ruining his life with you. But I'm a good sister, and I saved him from wasting everything on you. If you couldn't make your first marriage work, I don't know why you're even trying again. You would just drag Joseph down with you if you two got married.
Is that what this is all about? You did what you did. All because I was married before? I can't believe it. Joseph and I came here because we wanted to share our happiness with you, and instead, you treat me like this. What kind of person thinks that someone should never get married again just because they were divorced once?
It makes perfect sense to me and anyone else with a brain and eyes that can see. Of course, someone like you is probably blind to how much this marriage would destroy his life. Or maybe you just don't care and you're only selfish. But that's why I have to protect my brother from a wicked woman like you.
I don't think I've ever met anyone who thinks like you do, Sylvia.
Oh, well then. I guess that means I'm the only one who cares about my brother's future and doesn't want him to throw it away for someone as pathetic as you. I mean, you already vowed to love someone till death do you part, and I don't think either of you or your ex-husband are dead yet. So how can anyone trust anything you say about love or marriage? Or maybe it wasn't your personality. Maybe your husband left you because you can't have children. But that's just another reason to keep you away from my brother as much as possible.
Can you please stop making up things about my life? I'll have you know that my last divorce was my choice, not his.
Oh, really? So you dumped him and not the other way around?
That's right. My ex-husband was an alcoholic who drank himself into a stupor every night. And he wasn't afraid to hit me either. Not only that, but he was always stealing money from me and ended up running off with a younger woman.
Oh, wow. Well, that guy sounds like a real jerk if you ask me. He's garbage.
On that, we can agree. So maybe you can understand why I had to get out of that situation. I really did try to make things work with my last husband, but nothing I did seemed to matter to him. The divorce was the only way out for me.
Fine. I get why you and this guy split up, but it doesn't change the fact that you're still a stupid woman who doesn't deserve my brother.
And what makes you say that?
Well, because you were stupid enough to marry such a complete piece of trash in the first place, of course. If you knew this guy was such a terrible person, but you still married him, then that just shows what a complete and total idiot you really are.
I don't think you understand. Before we got married, he really was a kind and sweet man to me. But it was only after we said our vows that he changed into this horrible monster. I had no idea that he was hiding his true self behind a mask. That he was waiting to take off after our marriage.
Ugh, there you go. Pretending like none of this is your fault. When you admitted that you were stupid enough to let yourself be tricked by this person, if you didn't do enough research into who you were marrying before doing it, then that is still on you. And all of this goes back to serve my original point that you are not good enough to marry my brother.
Are you kidding me? Do you really think life is that simple?
Besides, I don't think Joseph is enough of a jerk to be your type. Maybe you should find someone more up to your level? Clearly, you're not responsible enough to understand marriage. I mean, you only realized the mistake you made after you made it. A smarter person would have never gotten married in the first place.
You don't know what you're talking about at all. I really had no idea that my ex-husband was that kind of man. Before we got married, I never even saw him drink a drop of alcohol while we were dating.
Ugh, just shut up already, will you? You're only dragging your own grave. You know, all I've gathered from this conversation is that you're a stupid, irresponsible, reckless woman. You need to take responsibility for your actions and quit trying to blame others for your lack of judgment.
Oh my god, you can't be serious, right? You really can't see things from my perspective at all.
Oh, well, I don't, because there's nothing to see except you're not good enough for Joseph. Just the thought of being your sister-in-law with a complete idiot like you is enough to send my blood pressure up. You are never going to be good enough to marry anyone ever again. Got it?
You little brat. One of these days, someone is going to put you in your place. Do you know that?
See? You even talk like an old maid. All you've done this whole time is prove my point time and time again. You're not even giving good arguments anymore. I am so glad I put an end to you and my brother before this whole thing got way out of hand.
I don't have time for this nonsense anymore. Goodbye, Sylvia.
Serena, are you there? I just stormed out of my parents' place and I need to see you. I don't care what my sister says. You and I are getting married.
Do you really want to talk about our engagement right now, Joseph?
I do, but before anything else, I want to say how sorry I am for how Sylvia treated you today. I've never seen anyone do what she did to you, and it was totally wrong. I mean, who throws coffee on someone else like that?
Thank you, but you don't have to apologize for that, Joseph. Do you really still want to marry me? Even if it means trouble with your family?
I brought you over to meet my family today because I thought they would be happy for us. But after you left the house, no matter what I said to Sylvia, she wouldn't accept that you were the one for me. She kept saying all these horrible things about how marrying you was going to be the worst mistake of my life. I couldn't stand hearing her talk about you like that, so I just walked out.
She really said all that about me to you?
She did, and I couldn't believe it. I had never heard her talk like that about anyone before. But it also made me realize that we don't need her approval. This is our life, and we should live it how we want.
Oh, Joseph, I'm so glad to hear you say that to me. But you know that if we go through with this, your sister will probably hate you forever. Are you okay with that?
If she's going to act like this, then I don't want anything to do with her anyway. I don't know what made her change, but she's not the person that I used to know. I was already sick of her attitude, so this was just a good chance to cut her off for good.
You really mean that? That you were already thinking of cutting her off?
You know, Sylvia has always been a very arrogant girl, even when she was little. She would look down on the less popular kids and judge them for silly things. I remember one time she had a friend who said that she wasn't going to college and was going to start working instead. And Sylvia just kept making fun of her and calling her poor and stuff. But I never saw her actually physically attack someone like she did to you today. That's when I knew she had gone too far.
I can't believe she said such horrible things to that girl.
She really did. And there was another time where she had a friend who was a single mother. And Sylvia told her that children without both parents aren't even worth having. She just says the first cruel thing that comes to her mind, and never thinks about how it might affect the person she's talking to.
Well, everyone and everything, it sounds like. And to say those kinds of things to people actually going through stuff like that is just awful.
Well, Sylvia thinks she's never made any mistakes in all her life, so she thinks she gets to judge those who she thinks have. Basically, she just asserts that she's right and everyone else is wrong unless she says otherwise.
How can someone even live like that? Has no one ever stood up to her and just told her to mind her own business?
It's a mystery to me as well. But I refuse to let Sylvia be the reason why I don't marry the woman of my dreams. So please, do you mind if I come over so we can talk more about this in person? I want to plan a day that we can go to court and get married. And then we can look at places to move in together.
It's been a long time since we last talked, but I just wanted to check in and make sure you and my brother finally called it quits.
Actually, quite the opposite. We have moved in together, and this weekend we're going to the courthouse to tie the knot.
Oh, wait a minute. What? So you two haven't broken up at all? Oh, you're gonna get married instead. I can't believe this. How could you just go and do this after what I told you to do?
Sylvia, can you please just tell me what this is really about? Why do you hate the idea of Joseph and I getting married so much?
It's because I despise you and you're not worthy of him. I already told you that a divorced woman can never be trusted again with marriage. You're just gonna run away and hurt my brother as soon as things get hard for you. Well, I'm not gonna let you ruin my brother's life like you did with your last marriage.
You really do see things through your own lens, don't you?
I am not seeing things. I'm just telling it like it is. And people don't like to hear the truth.
I mean, even after I told you about how I was deceived by my last husband, and how he changed after we got married, I had to leave him for my own sake. And you still managed to blame me for everything? You made it sound like I was taking the easy way out, even though I told you that the divorce was the last thing I wanted.
Well, that's because all you said in that whole pity party of yours was it was tough, so I quit. Do you really expect me to believe that your husband suddenly became a different person after you married him? That sounds like a cop-out and a failure to me. And if that's how lightly you take marriage, then clearly you weren't good enough for my brother to stick with you through thick and thin. It was your responsibility to find out who you were marrying before you said yes. What's that word? Red flags. You didn't see any of them?
Sylvia, I really think you're making a huge mistake.
I don't make mistakes. In fact, I'm also engaged to be married, and unlike you, I know exactly the kind of person that I'm getting with. That's why I agreed to marry him.
Wait a second. You're engaged to be married too? But not even Joseph knew anything about that.
Well, he wouldn't know anything since I've been keeping it a secret from the family this whole time. But soon, I'm gonna be introducing him to the family, and they'll see just what an amazing man he is. Although, I suppose since the cat is out of the bag, I can tell you that he graduated from Harvard and he works at a huge investment firm. His name is Charlie, and he's amazing. Oh, and he's all mine.
So, your fiancé's name is Charlie.
That's right. He's just a few years older than me. But all that means is that he has more life experience. He's so amazing, and I'm not ashamed to be seen with him at all. We're actually the perfect match for each other.
So, this Charlie guy is a bit older than you. Do you mind if I ask exactly how much older he is than you?
Actually, it's funny that you ask because Charlie's the same age as you. So he's about 70 years older than me.
Wait, what? Are you serious?
That's right. He went to a great school, has a great job, and is a good age. Basically, he's the perfect catch. I should know. I spent time learning about the kind of person he is. And I know that I'm not wrong about how I feel towards him. I'm not gonna make the same mistakes that an idiot like you did when you got married. So you just dived right into your marriage without even thinking about any of the consequences. And all it got you was a divorce.
You know, I think your Charlie might actually be my ex-husband. Charlie, Harvard, the job and finance, his age. It all matches exactly with the man I used to be married to. I'm afraid that you might, in fact, be marrying someone who has also been a divorcee.
Hold on. Wait a second. What?
I know. I'm just as shocked as you are to be hearing all of this. The world really is a small place, isn't it?
Is that supposed to be some kind of joke or something? There's no way that the man I'm engaged to marry ever had anything to do with you. Because if that was really true, then that would mean that I'm about to marry a horrible person. But there's no way that he was married before or even got divorced.
Well, all I'm saying is that everything you told me about this man so far has matched up exactly to the man I used to be married to. My ex-husband Charlie also went to Harvard, and he also works in finance. And his name is also Charlie, like your fiancé.
But that just happens to be all a coincidence. I mean, I've never even seen Charlie drink, okay? And he's never mentioned anything about being married to you or anyone else before.
Sounds like the same thing he did to me. I never saw him touch a glass before we got married. It was only after he did that he showed me who he really was. But I think you'll find out pretty quickly that he does all of his drinking while you're away. And he only pretends to abstain when he's around you.
Ugh, you are full of it. This can't be right.
And have you actually ever asked him before if he's ever been married? Because I feel like that's something a lot of people don't bring up, especially if they don't see it as necessary. You might want to look into that, though.
This is really bad, though. I mean, we're already engaged. How can we get married if he's hiding so much about me that I don't even know? This can't be right. He would never do something like this to me.
I know how you feel. I thought the exact same thing before when I got married to him. But he's hiding his true self from you. And once you two get married, you can look forward to him just downing bottle after bottle, night after night. And I don't want to make any formal accusations, but I'm just telling you that it's really worth looking into before you get married, okay?
No. You can't be right about this. My Charlie would never lie to me about who he is. I mean, he's my fiancé, for crying out loud.
Oh, that's right. I completely forgot that you have the ability to know exactly who someone is and isn't.
What is that supposed to mean?
I'm only repeating what you said. You told me that you would never get married until you were 100% sure that you knew what kind of person they were. So, I guess that means you must have done all your homework on this person, and that you know exactly who you're marrying. I mean, you wouldn't just get married to someone without knowing anything about them, right?
Well, of course not.
Well, then don't worry about it. I'm sure that things are going to be just fine. After all, if they aren't, then that means you've been wrong about yourself the whole time, wouldn't it?
I don't think I'm wrong. Well, it never hurts to double check.
Oh, no. No, I really hope that it didn't shake your confidence in your fiancé. After all, you aren't some old hag like me. You're a bright, clever young lady, aren't you? So I'm sure that you know exactly what you're getting yourself into with this guy. I mean, even if I was right and it is my ex-husband, Charlie, and he does change after you two get married, at least you've already been prepared for that, right?
Look, I don't know what you're talking about.
I just mean that you'll take responsibility for your marriage and won't run away like I did, right? Even when he's drunk and hitting you, you'll still be there by his side, right?
You don't really think that'll happen to me, do you? Oh no. What have I done? I can't marry someone like that. Serena, you have to help me. You were right. He was your ex-husband, Charlie. I asked him if he had ever been married before, and he wouldn't answer until I pushed him hard. And then he told me everything. He's the same abusive alcoholic that you escaped from.
Oh, so you finally decided to do some background check on him, huh? And here I thought you knew everything about this guy before you agreed to marry him.
Oh, shut up. This is not funny, you know. And what am I supposed to do now? Please, you have to help me.
Help you with what? Did he hurt you?
He was gonna do to me what he did to you. He hid a part of his life that he never planned to tell me until after we got married. When he finally confessed who he was, he went straight to the kitchen, grabbed a bottle of wine, and drank the whole thing in front of me.
That sounds like Charlie.
He changed right in front of me. I couldn't believe it. He got so angry that he told me I couldn't leave.
That also sounds very much like Charlie. He's the worst when he gets any alcohol in him. I told you that's why I left him in the first place.
But he told me that he still loved you. That he tried to find you after you left him. But he couldn't, so he gave up and looked for another woman. And he found me. A young, successful woman just like me. And now we're engaged to be married.
He's such a liar and a manipulator. And to think he showed his true colors before the wedding. I remember seeing him drink like that the first time he hit me on our wedding night.
Please, you have to do something to help me. I ran away and locked myself in the bathroom. I can't spend the rest of my life with a monster like him. I can't leave the house, though. He blocked the door and I have no other way out but to hide in here. Please, you have to come and save me. I don't care if you and my brother get married. Just come and rescue me.
Well, first of all, sis, Serena and I are already married, and we never needed your blessing to do so.
Little brother, is that you? Did you two really already get married? I thought you weren't gonna do that until this weekend.
That was the plan. But then I was told I was going to have a business trip this weekend, so we moved the appointment up. It was all an easy process, and now Serena and I are married.
Oh, well, congratulations now. Are you gonna come and help me or not?
I don't know. You said that you'd let Serena and I get married if we did, but we're already married. So what else do you got?
What do you mean? What else do I have? I'm your sister and I'm in trouble. Isn't that enough?
But I thought you knew exactly the kind of person that you were going to get engaged to, no? If you like this guy so, well, you can get yourself out of this jam, right?
Wait, no, please. You aren't really just gonna abandon me like this, are you? You're not gonna leave your little sister with a mean drunk like this, are you?
It's not that I don't feel bad for you. I just really don't feel like I need to do much either. You got yourself into this mess so you can get yourself out. Serena explained very well to you about the kind of man that her ex was, but you just didn't listen, and look where that landed you.
You're right. I should have listened. I should have never made fun of Serena for being divorced. I never thought it would lead to this, though. I was just trying to protect you, Joseph.
So you think that I should thank you for all that you put my wife through? Because I don't ever remember asking you to do that for me.
Please. I'm sorry for everything. Just help me out here, please.
I've called the cops, and they should be on their way. But I never want you to talk to me or my wife ever again.
The police arrived shortly after that call and rescued Sylvia from the bathroom, where she had been trapped by Charlie's rage. Needless to say, Sylvia and Charlie ended their engagement on the spot, and Sylvia filed a restraining order against him. I heard from some sources, though, that all of Sylvia's friends are now mocking her for having terrible taste in men, as well as being clueless about what she was getting into. Of course, this was also their way of getting back at her, for all the times Sylvia would ridicule her friends for making bad choices with their exes or current partners, and for all the times she would boast about how perfect Charlie was for her. As for Joseph and I, we had a small but lovely wedding ceremony with some friends and family, who are all supportive and happy for us. And now we're living together, happily married and looking forward to our future.